So, and someone asked me, well, what do you do about financing for that stuff? Well, I tell you what, I mean, we know a lot of lenders, and maybe Mr. Repke could expand on this later on. We have the question and answer thing. I don't know many people that are financing fractured condos. Because number one, I mean, they don't cash flow. Right?
It depends.
Well, for the most part, I mean.
Depends how low you got the basis.
Yeah.
And if they're rented.
Well, that would be the whole process, but most of the time when you're buying the note from the bank, the thing's not rented at that point in time, right?
Unless they started a workout to switch it from condominium to
rental
apartment.
Yeah. But, bottom line is, the loan that you're going to get, it'll be one, very expensive if there's no cash flow. And I mean, people ask, well, what's expensive? Well, I mean, that could be 8 to 12%, depending on what lender. David's saying more. David works on a lot more of this stuff than I do, so. Yeah, well, let's say 8 to 12% plus
equity type. If it's hard money, they want an equity type return.
Right.
So it's going to depend on what the definition of equity is at that point. Which right now, it's going to be 18 to 24% internal rate.
So yeah, internal rate. Yeah, because I mean maybe 12%. Well, what I left off there, that would be anywhere from 4 to 7 points on top of that to give them
exit fees, kickers.
Yeah, to give them new yield. So, but I mean, a conventional bank, if you've got a real big hitter and you've got a line of credit, you might be able to find a loan for some fractured stuff.
But it's not a loan based on the real estate.
No.
It's a loan based on the sponsor.
Exactly.
And what their global income is.
Right.
Because now we're in a relationship world.
Yeah, oh yes, that's a fact. I mean, if you want a loan from a bank, it's relationship driven. I had a super duper ALF in the center part of the state. It's a great deal. And the borrowers just basically want a 5-year deal, and we've been calling around dialing for dollars, and I'm getting the same story. Yeah, that's a great deal, but the borrower's from from Texas, and and he's just not in our footprint. Yeah, footprint's the buzzword. Footprint.
We want to have a relationship.
Yeah, and
What's
so they want
a relationship though?
Yeah, the relationship.
What's a relationship?
Somebody.
Candles, foot massage.
Yeah, exactly. Massage jobs. But they want the borrower to be local. They want all of his checking accounts. They want to be able to float with his money. The whole bit. Now, most of our developers are in dire straits, to say the least. I mean, they're existing. I mean, they're just like probably everybody in this room. I mean, including us. I mean, they're hanging on by their fingernails. They're trying to restructure the debt. Anything that they built from 2005 to 2007, it's underwater. And if the guy was big enough and he could have a $60 million statement, he might have had $18 million in cash. But on the other hand, he probably had 10 deals in the air. So at some point in time, they have to say, we're done. We just can't do it anymore. We just, one of my best friends is a guy who used to be in the boat business, still kind of is. And that's a terrible thing to be in. I'd say 3/4 of the boat manufacturers were in business 3 years ago, or they don't exist anymore. I mean, it's unbelievable. But anyways, he was involved as an equity investor in a condo project, and I'll tell you which one it is because it's closed, called Reddington Grand on North Reddington Beach. There's 12 units. They were 5,000 and 6,000 square foot units. I mean, they were the best of the best of the best. Each unit had its own pool, counter, leave it out on their little patio or big patio. They managed to sell 4. Bottom fell out. Colonial Bank had the loan, and they start trying to work with Colonial. Colonial won't even talk to them. I mean, they can't get a return phone call. All they know is that Colonial keeps calling, "Where's our check? Where's our payment? Where's our payment?" So they start trying to do the restructure. Well, they really didn't have any defense. And these are some 4 pretty big hitters that were signed on this loan. So, the only defense that they had was, and which they used, was, well, you shouldn't have lent us the money because we didn't have enough pre-sales.
vendor liability.
Yeah. So, and I'll kind of wrap this up because George said a lot that I was going to say, but and we tell borrowers this: the best thing that can happen to you, if any of you are having problems with your banks, the best thing that can happen is that bank go under, because these banks, and we know all of them pretty much. I mean, they're sitting with troubled assets. They don't want to foreclose because they can't take the capital hit. So, they're sitting there, and they're still expecting you to sit there and pay. And as George said, and I just said, most of these guys will run out of money. So, best thing that can happen is the bank failed. It goes to the FDIC. In this case, this is a prime example, in the Colonial failure, FDIC took it, brokered the deal off to BB&T. Then my guys went to BB&T and said, "Hey, we can't do this. What are you going to do for us? I mean, we're tapped." BB&T said, "You know what? Yeah, we'll work with you." So ultimately, there's an equity fund down in Sarasota called Vista Equity, and a friend of ours used to be with Capmark, runs the show down there. They came in and bought that loan from BB&T, which had an outstanding of over $12 million, bought that loan for $5.5 million. $100 a square foot on the Gulf of Mexico. Pretty strong, huh? So those are the kind of deals that are out there. And as George said, I mean, people tell me we've hit the bottom. I don't think so. I don't think we've hit the bottom, and I don't see a lot of the banks, putting their stuff out, negotiating. I mean, because we call all the time. What you got? You got anything you want to sell? Any notes? And for the most part, they're not really willing to deal at this point in time. And then with the larger banks, an individual like you and I, I mean, on a rare occasion, maybe somebody's done it. I don't know anybody that has been able to go into Bank of America and buy a one-off deal. Most of them are going to go to the big auction note fund people, and then you go in and you bid. All right. So I hear yesterday that one of our mini storage developers has been buying some notes, and these guys are, they're holding their own, but occupancies are down, but they're covering their mortgages. So they were bidding on a pool of 2 or 3 mini storage deals that some bank had that were being represented by one of the big funds. I mean, big brokerage houses selling notes. And so they penciled out, and these guys have been in the storage business for a long time. They were prepared to pay $1.8 million for this one property. And the guy in the bidding process, that property sold for $2.8 million. It didn't work. Now, why? Because I just told Gary, there's so much money sitting out there. There's so many equity funds just sitting there waiting for properties to hit the market. And the supply's not there yet. I have no clue when it's going to hit. Maybe somebody's got an idea. But I mean, there will be opportunities. I think that we'll all see. Probably it may not be till the end of the year or next, but ultimately these banks cannot sit on this stuff any longer. And I mean, what are they forecasting? 700 banks to fail? More banks to fail in the next 12 months? So ultimately, when the banks fail, that property's going to go into some other bank, and then you'll be able to probably do some action like I mentioned with the BB&T situation. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. So, all right, that's all.